All right, welcome in. It is the High Noon Show. I am Pugs Moran. Pugs and Company is what we call it. I had a little bit of an issue there. I don't know why I couldn't hear the theme song the way I normally like to hear it. Hold on, folks. Just bear with me 1 second here. If you've been joining us the last couple of, weeks at this point, we've been trying to see. We've had trouble with the and company part of the Pugs and Company show, bringing people in. There's something wrong with something, and we don't know what it is. So, typically today, my buddy E the artist, he would join us for the High Noon show, which is what this is. I'm sorry if I seem a little distracted. It's because I don't know. I don't seem to be hearing. Hold on. Let me just check some levels. Bear with me, folks. I don't know what that is. There we go. Checking levels. Sorry, folks. All of this stuff should have been done. But, all right. So here's there's E. Let's see if we can get him. Let's bring him in, ladies and gentlemen. It's E. E, say something.
Test.
How do you sound?
I sound fine.
You sound fine.
I think so.
Okay. All right. That's very good. You sound fine. You don't have an echo. Let's check the chat room. People in the chat room, does E have an echo? All right. We'll be seeing. Well, thank you, Jeff Glenn. I appreciate you saying I've been doing. E, can you count to 10 for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right. Here is the problem that I am having. I can barely hear you, and it's not on your end. It is not. It is not. It is something about what I'm able to. I can't hear. I noticed it when we put the. When I hit the theme, and I usually get the boom, ba-da-dum, boom, 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 ba-da-dum, boom. That thing, that starts out the show.
Right.
Very low in my headphones. Very low in my headphones. If like the headphone.
Do you have that green box, the Onyx box?
I don't know what I have. I don't know.
There's a green box that says Onyx on it, and you turn your headphone volume up.
I think I have something different. Maybe Ed is now in my computer, and he is trying to figure out why I'm not getting any sound. It's look, if the sound thing goes from like 0 to 10, I'm hearing you at about a 2, and I normally I would like to hear you at about a 5 or a 6. But yeah, so I don't know what is happening here. I don't know if this is a computer. Do I sound all right? He says he sounds all right. Yeah, I do not have an Onyx box, says that. Where'd my picture go? Oh.
It stopped.
Yeah, it did. Okay, there we go. Now I'm back. I'm wondering if our guy Ed has any suggestions for me on. This has got to be the audio on your Zoom. Okay, so my headphones are at. I just need you to keep talking, E. Okay.
Yes, I will keep talking.
Okay, now you're up to 10. No, okay, that's the headphones. All right, everything is at 7, 7, 7. Keep talking.
Okay, I'm watching Fox News, and it's showing videos of the Russian Defense Ministry.
All right,
looks keep going. Russia is about to invade Ukraine, and I'm a little concerned about that.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
There I go. How about? Boy, but now I'm cranked up all the way. Hold on a second. I don't understand why I have to be cranked up now till 10. As long as, look, I don't care. As long as the people, let's see what this level's at. Nope, that's way too hot. Okay. Usually very good about my levels. Okay, so this is going to be, I want to be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we're good.
You got something just got louder.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I sound okay to you?
Yeah.
All right. All right. It says we can hear us fine. Well, I have no idea what happened as to why we can suddenly hear you, other than this weekend, because my son was here, I had to move every weekend when he comes here. I move all of the equipment so that he can't touch any of it, which is very important. And Ed and I got together yesterday. Oh yes, Ed is saying right now. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I remember you said you disconnected the Zoom because of Mason. It looks to me like maybe Mason, when he was handing it to me, because he helped me put it all back together yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
When he was handing it to me, he might have inadvertently hit one of these dials, and that's why you sounded so low and he sounded. It's a dial that I never touch, so that's why I was like,
Got it.
why is this different? Okay, how about a round of applause for Ed? Ed helped me get this thing back together yesterday, and he seems to have fixed the echo. We're gonna say he knew what he was doing, but I think more than likely it was just a happenstance that caused this happy little miracle.
Well, I thought it was the Restream app
Yeah, I don't
because
know.
I couldn't figure out why I was echoing, and James was echoing, and he's in Louisiana, and I'm
Yeah.
here like you know
So
20 yards away.
here's what we've figured. Here's what we've determined. During your absence, and you were missed, you do not have to do this show every day. I have felt guilty to no end about the fact that I felt like I've been putting pressure on you to bail me out of doing this because I couldn't quite get up. But then you were out of town for a week, and then we had
Right.
so it's been almost 3 weeks of me doing shows by myself. And in those 3 weeks, I determined that, hey, you know what? I can actually do this. Whatever the mental block was in my head that had me relying on other people, I got over it. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on. But man, I just want you to know you are welcome all the time. But please don't ever think that, like, if there's ever any sort of anxiety that you would go through because, oh, I want to do this, but I don't want to leave Pugs hanging. Please, you do not have to worry about that anymore.
Well, I
But
appreciate it. I just was trying to help out, but
well,
yeah.
and you did greatly. Thank you. All right, so let's get started here. I'll tell you what, I'll just we'll start the show the way we always do. All right. Boom ba-da-dum boom, pretending like the theme's going boom ba-da-dum boom ba-da-dum boom 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 ba-da-dum boom ba-da-dum boom boom ba-da-dum boom. All right, everybody, welcome into the high noon edition of Pugs and Company, heard each and every Monday through Friday, noon till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we double back and we do what we call a pillow talk segment that comes on at 9 p.m. Central Time, Sunday nights through Thursday nights. Now, last night, I know, Pugs, you're saying, hey, you didn't do a show last night. I didn't. You know why? Because Uncle E and myself spent 4 hours at Dave and Buster's with the boys. And my son, first of all, thank you very much to Uncle E coming through in a big Christmas way. What a nice little treat that was. Totally unexpected. But about, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he said, hey, let me take y'all to Dave and Buster's. We'll have ourselves a night. Not going to turn that down. And my kid, my kid said to me, he goes, do you know how long we were there? Because every time we go to Dave and Buster's with my kid, it's like, all right, here's what you get. I'm very, I'm very strict with them for monetary reasons, but also, I don't want them to expect that kind of thing. And he goes, do you know how long we were at Dave and Buster's? I go, yeah, we were there for the whole football game. He goes, man. He goes, Uncle, he's awesome. I go, yeah, well, everybody should have a fun uncle, man.
Well, I'm glad he had a good time. I was having a good time watching the football game.
Yeah, we just sat and watched the football game. We spied on people who were doing karaoke. Who the hell goes to David Buster's and does karaoke? I just couldn't get over that. I just thought that's a weird setup. Because when I think of Dave and Buster's, I mean, what is Dave and Buster's? First of all, Dave and Buster's is a great place. I love Dave and Buster's, but I love Dave and Buster's from the perspective of a single dad with a kid. Where I can watch a game and the kid can be running around behind me playing every video game under the sun. I don't understand the appeal of like 20-something singles going to a Dave and Buster's. Do you? I mean, wouldn't you rather
Well,
just
I
go to a
mean,
bar?
yeah, it's kind of a bar. Like they have what's
Except
the
there's a
place
bunch of
on?
little kids running around.
Yeah, but they've got an area that's kind of sectioned off,
Yeah,
like g- I mean, it is a game room, so there are going to be kids there, but
lots of them.
they've become, I think, more kind of bar. It reminds me of when I was younger, my dad had a bowling alley, and the bowling alley had a bar, and it also had a nursery, and so parents would
Your
bring their
dad was an innovator. He knew
right.
parents were garbage.
Right. Their parents would bring, to the bowling alley, and the kids
Uh,
would go down in the nursery, and the parents would organize, getting cocktails out of the bar,
no,
and then we had a game room too. So I don't know. It feels like I don't know that I would go there if I was single on a date. Like, it
no,
seems like if you're dating a
no.
girl and she has kids, or
Then
you're
fine.
dating a
Yeah,
guy and he has kids,
let's all go.
and
Yeah,
it's
that's
their
great.
weekend, it's almost a
Perfect.
way that you can go on a date
Perfect.
and have your kids be doing something while you're still dating.
I would say that I spied a lot of people that were there last night who were probably between the ages of 21 and 24, right? And when I was 21 or 24, between those age groups, I wouldn't want to go someplace where there were a bunch of not just little kids, because little kids, they for me, they harsh the bar vibe. They're like, I don't want to see a bunch of little kids running around, but also teenagers. When I'm 21, 22, I don't want to be around 17, 18-year olds. I just don't want to see them. It's like I'm superior to them. I have crossed the Rubicon, the 21st year of life. I no longer need to go to high school parties. And that's just what I think. Man, I couldn't wait to go to real grown-up bars when I was 21,
Yeah,
22,
but
23
there
years
are
old.
there's Barcadia, on Henderson. Like, it's just got a bunch of the older games that
But
we'd
do
be
they
familiar
bring
with.
but do they market directly to children the way Dave& and Buster's does?
No, and then
That's
there's
different. That's
and
different.
then there's Cidercade.
Yeah.
Those are kind of more. Again, that's the place where they make cider over there off of Irving Boulevard, and they've got games. So yeah, I think there is a gaming crowd that likes to go out and play games, and they do that on dates. I think Dave and Buster's kind of a hybrid.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, and I understand the shifting demographics of what young adults are into. Young adult you and I, when we were young adults, we weren't raised on hardcore video games from the time we were born. We got Pong when we were, like, 10, 11, 12, and then there was, like, Atari.
Pac-Man and Asteroids were like that was like the middle of my childhood.
Right, but we also sort of saw those things as kids things. Like when you were going to college parties and the like, you didn't sit around and play Xbox while people were doing keg stands and stuff the way kids do today. So what I think is happening is that we have a young adult demographic who have video gaming in their DNA in a way that we didn't have it. So maybe that's why I just don't understand why, a 23-year-old is so enthralled with the idea of video gaming. When I was 23 years old, I wanted to go to a bar, maybe shoot pool, maybe throw darts, play a jukebox, and hit on girls. That was it. Or watch a game with my boys. I didn't even think that, well, let's spend the majority of the time playing video games, because that took away from what I felt was the draw of the bar, which was sitting at a table with your friends, making fun of stuff and communicating and actually being together.
Well, and if you are on a date with a girl and you are playing video games, I mean, don't you have to let her win?
Well, that was never an option for me. Do you know that every time I played a video game with both of my ex-wives, that's right, I've got two because I am terrible at relationships, with both of my ex-wives were better than me at every single video game we ever played. I remember my first wife, Sloan, we were at a radio event once, and it was this new, maybe it was like this was probably in the late 90s. So it wasn't one of these adult video game places. It was a bar, but it also had video games, and a big part of their thing. Oh, I think it was. I want to say it was Sluggers, which had batting cages and all that kind of stuff. Which, quite frankly, I never understood for a bar. What do you think the insurance is by getting people liquored up and then putting them in a fast pitch batting cage? I mean, I've seen people get beamed. And I always thought that's bad for the insurance policy. That ain't good.
Right.
But we were playing this like really, and by today's standards, it's probably a stupid, archaic game. But we were playing this racing game where you sit in, it was one of the early ones where you actually sit and the thing moves like you're racing cars. And we were side by side and we were racing against each other. And I was really trying, and she was just crushing me at this game. Now, both of my ex-wives were superior athletes to me in every regard. I mean, they were just they were jock girls. They were, you know what I mean? They were
Right.
not like, they were also girly, but they were athletic. Like, if we were to do free throws or a game of horse, my first wife could beat me at everything. She was a standout softball player. She was a standout basketball player. My second wife was an all-state soccer player, an all-state volleyball player. It was just like, and I'm the funniest guy on the bench, It was like, that was my thing. So the idea of having to allow your date to win is not anything that I ever worried about. I was trying to win, and I just couldn't. Now,
Well,
trivia
yeah,
game.
I don't know.
You
To
have
me,
lost a
like,
trivia game.
well, when I would go, like, I'm just thinking like dates back, in the dating times, putt, like
Yeah, you're an athlete, though.
you'd have to let them win, like bowling, but that was kind of unfair.
You're a world-class level
No,
bowler. Yes, you
no,
are. You got
but I mean,
shoes, you got the glove, you got the bag. When we went bowling once with Emil, it was like, yeah, it'll be fun. And I'm like, I haven't bowled in 20 years. Okay. And even 20 years ago, I didn't bowl all that much. And I'm like, oh, good. Emil and Wendy are here. Here they come. And Emil's got a bag and he's powdering up. He's got the glove
I wasn't
on.
powdering up.
You
I don't
were
think I
so.
have a glove. I have a bowl. I have a ball and I have shoes, but I didn't have a glove.
And like, we're there for like 15
Mm.
minutes and he's on his way to a 300 game.
No,
I'm bouncing it in the other lanes. I'm like, this is humiliating.
but I do have fun now when I go bowling. Like, except this. I don't
Well,
know.
your
I
dad
think
owned bowling alleys growing up.
Yeah. So I mean, that I kind of bowled more than the average person, so I'm just a little better at it. But
I'll
it's
challenge
only
you.
because of practice.
I can tell that there is one thing that I am good at. Actually, two things that I tend to be good at. And I am not good at any other physical activity. Okay. I am passable at Papa Shot. Passable. I can compete, right? But some people are just really good at Papa Shot. I'm passable at Papa Shot. I'm good at putt-putt. I am good at putt-putt. And I'm also, oddly enough, sucking at video games. I'm pretty good at go-kart racing. When me and my son went to the Wisconsin Dells, we probably go-kart raced 20 times against all manner of people. And I will tell you that in those 20 races, I never finished below the top 3. I mean, I can
All
race.
right. Sounds like we're on. We can do the go-kart challenge. I want to do that one.
Okay. How about putt-putt? You're a golfer. I'm not a golfer, but for some
Well,
reason, putt-putt.
there's a putt bar thing that's come out now. It's called Another Round.
Mm-hmm.
And it's over there, like the edge of the design district. I would say more so where, what is that place over there? By the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge.
Okay.
And so it's like an indoor putt with cocktails. And it's called Another Round. So we should maybe do that one night.
That'd be fun. That'd be great.
Guys' night.
Putt. Ed is inside I was just going to merge.
I don't see
chat.
any.
Ed, while you're in there, merge the chat.
You don't see the putt-putts anymore. I think like Top Golf is really kind of taken away the putt. It's a hybrid version, I guess, of golf without putting.
Look, I can drive. I not well. You know, I mean, I can drive like a normal dude, you know, but I'm not good at that. I don't swing and miss. You know, I mean,
Right.
I'm not that level, but I wouldn't say I'm good at it. I'd say I wouldn't embarrass myself if I was on a date, as long as she knew that I didn't golf. You know,
See,
it's
and
like,
Topgolf has done that too. They've got like a game room and then they've got the
yeah,
golfing thing,
yeah.
So and I think Topgolf is probably another version of Dave and Buster's, but they added a tier of the golf.
Yeah, yeah. Top Golf is. I have some family who are work for Top Golf corporate. And that's as far as we'll go with that.
Ah,
You know that.
right. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Without revealing who exactly.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So yeah, so Top Golf is in my son's blood. Oh boy, look at me just giving it away. Sort of. I don't know. April, she says that she enjoys going to Dave and Buster's more when she goes with just adults at night. Yeah, to each their own. I just, you know, I'm a bar guy. All right, let's talk about what today is, because that's what we do. This is a utilitarian show, I like to say, where we go through all the topics that are trending. We talk about anything and everything that you need to know to get through your day without looking like an idiot. Today is December the 6th, year of our Lord 2021, the 340th day of the year. There are 25 days left until the end of the year, and what, like 19 until Christmas. Like I said, get a calendar. I'm probably off by a day, because calendars are, I would think 19 because it's the 6th, and that would make the 25th, but I don't know. That makes sense to me. On this day, why today is pretty darn cool. See, that's another name that I'm calling this segment. We're not going to call it Why Today Doesn't Suck, because that would be a rip job, but I'm working on a title. Why Today is pretty darn cool. On this day in 1969, Altamont occurred. Altamont, the free concert in Northern California. Are you familiar with Altamont? Do you remember that? You're a big Rolling Stones guy. That was the major disaster in the Rolling Stones career.
No, I'm not. I don't remember it. I remember I thought somebody got shot.
Yep. Well, stabbed and
Stabbed.
beaten.
Stabbed, right.
Because the Rolling Stones, in their drug-addled haze, decided that they didn't need actual security and went and hired the Hells Angels to provide security at this concert, which was billed as the West Coast Woodstock. It was massive. 1969, a free concert performed by the Rolling Stones. 18-year-old Meredith Hunter is stabbed to death by the Hells Angels security guards. You can see this. There are videos of this. There are documentaries about it. It is brutal. It is insane, man. These Hells Angels, boy, oh boy, they were. Would it shock you to learn that they were not behaved as security guards? They were all on drugs. They were all partying. Instead of them actually maintaining some semblance of a force of security for the good of the general public, they treated it like it was their own party. And all of these people were at their party. And I don't know if you've ever been to a Hells Angels party. I haven't.
Never.
But you should be on your best behavior, right? Wouldn't you imagine?
Yeah. I can't even imagine. Like, that would be like a scary party.
That'd be a scary, gross party. That would be, oh my. Have you ever been to, what's the worst, scariest party you've ever been to? Have you ever been to, like, here, I'll let you think about it, because I got mine loaded up.
Well, it wasn't a party.
Mhm.
I went to an after hours gambling room in South Dallas.
Okay. All right. What was that like? Paint a picture for me. What was the primary fear? Like, was there?
I don't know that it wasn't like, there wasn't really a fear per se. It was, oh my God, I'm in a room with a bunch of pimps and drug dealers and people, like, from just, it was just insane. And the amount of cash that was on the table, like, it was crazy. And how I got there, I still don't remember. Cause, like, I wasn't paying, when you go down to South Dallas, you kind of lose track of, like, one street looks like another street, because they're just all kind of the shotgun houses and stuff like that. And it was late and it was dark. Buddy's like, hey man, you want to go to this place? we can get drinks after hours, and they got gambling, and but we were more interested in the alcohol. And man, we got there and like went through this door, and it was just like smoke was like down like here, and there were fedoras and canes and hats and hoochie mamas
All right,
everywhere.
that's a good one. That's one where you don't want to bump into somebody carrying a tray of drinks, because that's how you get stabbed in the parking lot. That's not a good one.
I remember we didn't leave either till like daylight. We came out and it was like sunglasses on, and it was crazy.
The scariest party I have ever been to occurred in Iceland. Yeah, you've heard a lot of me talking about my Iceland
you've told
trips.
me about this one, right.
I ended up with a couple of DJs, because it was all a bunch of DJs that they flew to Iceland for this the summer solstice there, where it stays daylight for 24 hours a day for like, I don't know, a bunch of days. And the party never stops because of that. You walk out of a bar and it's 3:00 in the morning and it looks like it's noon. The sun is out and you're like, wait, it's 3 a.m. And your body says you can keep going even though you've been drinking
Right.
since it's daytime. It ain't time for bed. I ended up in what I describe as a brothel, although it was more of like a club, but it was a brothel. I ended up at a brothel sitting at the bar with Mickey from Baltimore, from the Mickey and Amelia show. And it was just me and Mickey sitting at the bar, not wanting to hang out with anybody. And then we found ourselves completely surrounded and drinking for 2 hours with hardcore Russian mobsters and arms dealers. Now, how did we? It was, boy, there were no opinions shared by me that night. I was on my best behavior with absolutely everything. But I got to be honest, they were buying all the drinks. I was from Chicago, by way of Dallas, but they liked that I was from Chicago because there's a huge like Russian mob influence in Chicago. There's a lot of Russians in Chicago. So they were just talking to me. One of the guys had spent a considerable amount of time in Chicago, and all he wanted to do was talk to me about, the Bulls. He'd been to Bulls games and all that. And he seemed to be somebody in this crew of Russian mobsters with stroke. So the rest of the guys sort of were nice to me because this guy was being nice to me, but it was scary, man. Vodka, not just vodka, man. That's the cliche that they like vodka, right? Oh, and they liked vodka, and they were buying shots of straight vodka. Come on, everyone. I'm like, okay, I will. And then every girl, you like it? Come on over here, honey. Come on, talk to him. I'm like, no, man, I got to do a radio show in like 3 hours. We're just here having fun. And the problem was we stayed there for like 3 hours partying with these guys because we were afraid to leave. We were afraid to leave because
they were enjoying your company.
They seemed to be enjoying
kept on getting you drinks, and you were like, another one.
And when Mickey was the first one, Mickey goes, hey, we got to get rolling out, man. I don't know if we can catch a cab back to the hotel this late. We got to get rolling out. And the guy was like, what, you don't like our company? It was like that. It was like, no, come on, man. We can stay for one more. And then another hour and a half passed before the idea of us even leaving was broached again, even though.
Yeah, that was similar to my South Dallas experience. We got in there and we knew one of the guys that was kind of a big timer in the place, and he kind of took a liking to the people we were with. And so that's why we ended up staying for a while.
If you're somewhere you don't belong, you got to have somebody with stroke who likes you.
Yeah, well, that was it. Like, he was like, hey, they're okay. It's kind of, they gave everybody that we were okay nod because we didn't look like we belonged. But once we were with him, we were fine. And then, it was on.
It was humiliating to the point of exhaustion. Like like they owned us. We were their toys, right? And they were nice, but at one point they pulled Mickey's pants down. Mickey
what?
One dude walked up behind him and goes, and he pulled his pants down at the bar. He was coming back from the bathroom. He came back from the bathroom. We were sitting on stools. Came back from the bathroom, and before he could get on his stools, one of these giant full-length leather coat Igor types just pulled his pants down, and everybody went, They were laughing it back. There was a lot of like head tussling, like, rah, like, like that. And then there was a lot of like headlocks. You're a good guy. You're a good guy. Come on, you drink with us. It was like, oh my God. It was fun now. But at the time in the cab coming back, we were just exhausted from trying not to get killed. We just knew that any accidental thing that we might say, could lead to, what are you saying, man? What do you say? It was like, no. I was just kidding. No, you don't kid. What do you mean you don't kid? You don't kid with Boris. You don't kid. It's like, no, Boris, seriously, it's cool. Let's do a shot. No, fuck you, shot. Fuck you. It's like that. It was like, okay.
I got your shot.
Right. It was like, no, maybe it's time for you to leave. But then finally we got to leave because some of their crew started to leave. Like we had to outlast the Russian mobsters, and they started to drift off. And then it was the opportunity where I went, yeah, man, we got to get going. All right, man, how long are you here for? How long? Like, I wanted to get together.
Come back.
Yes, and there was, and you know me, I'm like, come by the show. I thought he'd be great on the show, right? I'm like, come by the show, man. You got to do the show. All right, man, that sounds good. Maybe we'll do that. Where are you at? I'm like, well, we're staying at and I forgot the name of the hotel. I go, just come by. And it was like 4 hours later, and he's like, fuck that, man. I ain't coming by in 4 hours. Like he was going to sleep. And I'm like, all right, see you around. Oh, yeah, that was so yeah, that's what it would probably be like hanging out with the Hells Angels on this day in 1969 at the Altamont Free Concert. A couple of things for you Irish folks out there in 75. The Troubles, if you're not familiar, that is the name given to the terrorist activity that occurred during, the battles with the English in 1975. Fleeing from police, a provisional IRA unit takes a British couple hostage in their flat on Balcombe Street. This is known in Irish circles as the Balcombe Siege. They took a whole bunch of... and then in this day, also the Troubles. Big date in the history of the Troubles. The National Irish Liberation Army bombs a pub frequented by British soldiers. That was a big one. I remember when that happened. There was a bar that was packed for some soccer game, or I guess they call it football, and it was all British soldiers, and the Irish just bombed it and killed them all. So the Troubles. And the reason I bring up the Troubles is because Irish families in America know what the Troubles are, especially if they had relatives that were still over there. It was a time starting in, I want to say, 1970, that ran into the basically the 90s. And it was a time of undeclared civil war where, cars were blowing up on street corners. I mean, it was every bit the terror that we think of when we think of, Beirut or Israel or whatever, except it was happening in Ireland. And, I now, as an adult, my family, my grandpa was big on Irish freedom. He used to talk to me about this when I was little, and the British and all that kind of stuff, and he hated the British. But man, now as an adult, I look back on that. I make no distinction between a guy walking into a cafe in Israel strapped with suicide, vest, and what they were doing in Ireland. It was, the Irish, they were fighting for their independence against the British, and they went to extreme measures. And it's still terrorism. Even though I'm Irish and I support them, it doesn't mean you know what I mean? It's like, it's a weird conundrum. It makes you actually look at this stuff in the same sort of way. Hold on, my phone just rang. Oh, that's probably another auto warranty call. People want to extend.
Oh, I thought maybe Boris was checking in.
Yeah, no. Whoa, that would be so great. That would be so great. Let's be honest. Boris is probably dead. Boris is dead. He was living life hard, and he was already about 10 years older than me. So, also on this day in a couple of crazy plane accidents on this day. In 1990, a military jet from the Italian Air Force was abandoned by its pilot, and the plane crashed into a high school, killing 12 students. Just he punched out. He was having problems. He punched out, and the plane landed on a high school.
Yeah, like, aren't you obligated as the pilot to
guide it into a forest,
steer it into somewhere else before you jump?
I would think that would be the plan, but who knows what happens in the moment. You just, people want to survive. People want to get the hell out of it. Who knows? Maybe he was on fire. Who knows? I don't know. But man, yeah, that sounds like, dude, at that point, you got a hero. Sully would have just guided it into the woods or something, or driven it into the ground. This guy punched out.
Like, that's an interesting conundrum. Like, you want to get out, but at the same time, you got to realize what you got up there. When it comes down to earth, you got to be careful of where it's going.
You got to. All right, let's see here. Birthdays. We got some birthdays here. We like to do this as well. Who's celebrating birthdays at the top of the show? Tom Hulse, Amadeus, born on this day in 1953. Stephen Wright, one of the greatest American comedians of all time. Stephen Wright, born on this day in 1955. Randy Rhoads. Woo, man. You remember Randy Rhoads? Randy Rhoads, Ozzy Osbourne's guitarist. You want to talk about a story of rock and roll excess. Randy Rhoads died crashing an airplane. Do you remember the story I told about how everybody who goes up with a private pilot, at some point the private pilot's like, you want to fly it?
Right.
That's how Randy Rhoads died.
If it's a small enough private plane.
Yeah. Randy Rhoads, they're partying all night with a pilot, and the pilot's like, hey, you want to go for a flight? You want to go for a fly? And Randy, legendary rock and roll guitarist, yeah, let's go. And they went up in this little plane, and then they flew over the bus. They're like, see, there's your bus. That's where everybody is. Not Ozzy, because I guess Ozzy had a hotel room. There's the bus. And he said, oh, let's buzz the bus. And he's like, you want to do it? So Randy Rhoads took the controls and crashed right into the bus. Rock and roll, man. Rock and roll, baby. Let's see. Who else has
that's the problem with those little planes. Like, you are seated with the pilot in your arm's reach.
Yeah.
Those are the planes you don't need to get on.
No. Yeah. No, the puddle jumpers, the twin engine Cessnas. I've been in enough of those. I've said the story. I've flown them. You want to fly? All right. I mean, I've held the stick. I say I flew it because it was flying and I was in control. But all I did was do a couple of turns. And also, born on this day in, 1967, one of the most prolific screenwriters and directors and producers around today, Judd Apatow, was born on this day. God, I love Judd Apatow. He is a brilliant, brilliant guy. What else we got? Anybody else? Anybody new? Anybody recent? Anybody young? Anybody happening? Anybody cool? Happy birthday, Robbie Gould, American football kicker. Gold. It's Gold. I should know better.
San Francisco 49er.
San Francisco 49ers. I believe he's the Chicago Bears all-time leading scorer as well as kicker. His career was supposed to be over 8 years ago when the Bears decided not to give him a contract. Bears. Don't even get me started. Morons. Let's see here. Anybody else? Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, celebrating a birthday today. Born on this day in 1992. And born on this day in 1994, your reigning NBA MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, was born. All right, so there you go. That's why today's pretty cool. Let's get into some of the trending topics. Let's see what people are talking about. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, no, we got to do our moment of joy first. That's what we do. Oh, my goodness. You know what? Because I was worried about the way stuff was going, I don't have this. Oh, verify it's me? Are you kidding? Hold on. All right, here we go. That worked. And I got a good moment of joy. I think you're going to, I don't know if it's good. Like, I don't know if you're going to enjoy. It's interesting. Let's put it this way. It's a moment of joy that starts out as a moment of joy. And then suddenly it's like, well, that was unexpected. All right, so here it is. I don't know if this is a birthday present or if this is a Christmas gift. I don't know. But it's a 16-year-old girl receiving her first car from her parents, okay? Now, here's the thing. This is a super wealthy 16-year-old girl. Do you see that? Look at that. When that's your driveway,
when you got to drive under your house to get into it.
When it's like a castle, when your complex is a castle, and there are a number of those around here, huh? Boy. Oh, by the way, can I just say before we show this moment of joy, you weren't lying, dude. This neighborhood is absolutely magical at Christmas time. There is the other day, I was complaining about the nonstop of horses and carriages going down the streets all night. But my kid and I, we took a little drive. We drove up and down the streets, and we were looking at the Christmas decorations in this neighborhood here in the one percenter neighborhood. Well, first of all, they have like 10 horses and carriages that roam up and down the neighborhood because people come and they want to look at the lights that all the super wealthy people do for Christmas. And you can turn your nose up at that, think some form of excess or something. No, no, I did. And then you know what? I drove around with my kid. We were like, holy cow. And let me tell you, folks, this isn't wacky neighbor with animatronics and blinking lights and all that. Every single house in this neighborhood looks like the fanciest hotel in downtown of your city at Christmas time. I mean, it is Ritz-Carlton level Christmas decorations, not the plumber who goes a little bit crazy every Christmas with his robots and stuff. No.
Well, there are those. We do have those sparsed amongst the streets, but for the most part, it is more of a
Insane.
high-end tree lit light. The trees are wrapped, with colors and different things. But the amount of horse-drawn carriages has just really, it seems like this year just like doubled up.
I thought there was one. I thought there was one.
No,
I saw
no. There,
5
matter of
in a
fact, if you
2-block
want to
period.
see the where they store them at the Lowe's right there at Inwood and Lemon.
Oh, yeah?
So, like, if you go there now, you'll see, like, off in the side parking lot, they've got like the carriages, and then they've got a grassed out area where the horses will stay. I don't know how many days they keep them, like a couple 3 days, and I'm sure they go back and pick up a new group of them. But yeah, they have a little livery there, and I think they have one across the street at the Home Depot, or they used to.
Now,
Um,
at Preston and, Mockingbird, that, like, little mall there with, like, the Tiffany
Highland Park
store,
Village.
Highland Park Village, I saw a whole bunch of them lined up there, so I assumed that that was the staging area, but maybe that's where
No,
they
they
just pick
won't let them
people
keep
up.
them there.
No? But they
I
were
mean,
all lined up.
yeah, well, that's where you go to get on.
Oh, that's where it starts. Okay, so that's the starting point.
Like,
Okay,
that
that
that's a
makes sense.
loading point. They have
Mhm.
they have different loading points where these carriages will pick the people up that are in the neighborhood,
Mhm.
because they obviously got to park their car somewhere.
Mhm.
But where they actually keep the carriages, because those carriages got to be nearby. I mean, you're
Yeah.
not bringing in 10 or 12 carriages a day. Where they keep them at the Lowe's or the Home Depot. And I think there's another spot in Uptown I've seen them. You got to have some grass, obviously, so the horses can graze during the day. And yeah, it's a whole cottage industry
Oh,
of.
it is a thing. It is absolutely a thing. When you mentioned it a few months ago, I was like, "Yeah, okay, so there's gonna be one horse walking around." No! This is like there is a cavalry of horses and carriages going up and down the streets of this neighborhood, at night. I guess they stop around midnight maybe because,
Yeah, I think they stop around somewhere there. And this year, what they've added is they've added these like tour buses.
I was just gonna say that. We saw on Saturday night a giant red tour bus that was just packed with people blaring Christmas music. Now, it didn't have speakers on the outside, but it was on the inside playing the Christmas music.
Yeah, it's one of
Everybody had
those
their
like
windows down.
$1 million buses that they've
Yes,
converted.
filled with people
Uh-huh.
just driving around our neighborhood.
I mean, I guess it'd be a fun mobile party, you know.
I guess. Why are we letting the people from Richardson and Carrollton come through here? Shouldn't we have some sort of border checkpoint? Because that's
Well,
what it is. It's people from outside the neighborhood who want to go see how the rich people decorate their houses. And I'll tell you, not being a rich person and being somebody who actually, turns my nose up at that kind of excess, I love it now. I hated it for the first few days, but now I'm like totally down. I'm like, I
it's
get it.
fun to yeah, I mean, it
I
is
get
fun
it.
to go check out the streets, you know.
Have you seen the 1,000-foot Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer yet? It's 1,000.
Yeah, he's down the street over there.
Oh, the thing is massive. It's like
The
a big.
one the one that always gets me is there's this huge sleigh with like the reindeer and the kids and Santa in it, and it's like sits right on the corner. Looks like it's about to take off.
Oh man,
Corner
Jesus.
Armstrong and
What do these cost? Like the house across the street. The people who I say invented cotton because it looks like a plantation house. It is beautiful. Their trees are beautiful. What is that? That's like
when I looked
$1,000.
at yeah,
One of
when
those
I looked
houses.
into it, and obviously I stopped once I looked into it. When I looked into it, it was like $1,000 per tree
Oh my god!
to
There
like
are people who
wrap,
have 15 trees covered.
but to wrap the tree, and they do an excellent job of
Oh,
doing it.
gorgeous! It's like
Yeah,
I
like
said,
they
it's
wrap them and
mountain
the
level.
lights are like right on top of each other. And so the whole tree, and then they go up the branches and the mini branches. Like if you go into Highland Park Village, I don't know how many lights are in there, but they have every tree
Beautiful.
wrapped like in full bloom, just wrapped all the way up. They start there like sometime in the summer
Yeah.
if the tree isn't already wrapped. And some people just leave them on all year long. But yeah,
It is beautiful.
it's crazy.
It's hard not to get into the Christmas spirit when you're surrounded by this stuff. Okay, so the moment of joy. Like I said, this looks to be like a neighborhood around here. This girl, I don't know if it's a Christmas gift. I don't know if it's a birthday gift, but let's watch this moment of joy for this 16-year-old rich girl, her first car.
Oh my gosh. What on earth? What did you...
Uh-oh.
It's an Audi.
Like I'm about to throw.
Says she's about to throw up.
She has to answer.
Oh, jeez. It's out cold. All right, let's watch this one more time.
He fainted?
She fainted. She passed out. All right, now I have to tell you. So when I was first watching this, the way she was walking out, I was very angry. I was like, what? How come she's not freaking out? She seems very blasé about this. Her parents just gave her a completely beautiful car, better car than I've ever owned. A beautiful car as her first car. Why isn't this girl more excited about it? And then she passed out. And I'm like, oh, I guess she was. I guess I was just misjudging her emotion. Watch it again.
Yeah, you felt better when she actually
did.
fell on her head.
I actually felt concerned for her. That's in Texas somewhere. That's probably this neighborhood.
I feel like I'm about to throw.
She's not kidding. They laughed, but
She has to answer.
here she goes. And oh god! Doesn't it look like she hit her head on the run?
Yeah, like on the rocker board on the side.
This.
I feel like I'm about to throw. She has to answer.
Oh!
Ouch!
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a
That's
moment.
your
of joy.
moment of joy?
I don't know. Maybe.
Your moments of joy, dude,
I don't know.
they're sick.
It's definitely something. It's something. All right, so let's get into the trending topics, everything everybody is talking about. So I was driving my kid to school this morning, and as we were coming up 75, he said to me, he goes, "Dad, why are all the flags at half staff?" And I had no answer for him. I was like, huh. I'm looking and I'm like, I don't know. Isn't that interesting? And then, of course, it dawned on me after he got out of the car, Bob Dole died. Bob Dole, the longtime senator from the state of Kansas. I believe he was senator from like 1969 till 96. It was 96 when he ran for president. He ran for president 3 times.
I was gonna say he was like the ultimate presidential loser
Yeah. Well,
in my era.
he only got the nomination once, but yeah, he did throughout the 80s. He like ran every time. He got pushed out by Reagan once, and then he got pushed out by George W. Bush or Herbert Walker once, and then finally the path was cleared after Herbert Walker, and he ran. Did he run against Clinton in 92?
Yeah, he got spanked by Clinton.
Yeah, in 92. And you know what's so bizarre about that? Bob Dole was famously lampooned on Saturday Night Live by Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald's Bob Dole was so funny. And if you had told me back in 1996 or 1994 that Bob Dole would outlive Norm Macdonald, oh my goodness.
Right?
We lost both of those guys this year.
In the same year.
So Bob Dole is being honored nationwide. President Biden has ordered all flags to be flown at half staff. Dude was a hero, man. That guy was a true war hero. That guy, he only had one arm, and basically
paralysis in one arm.
Yeah, he had a dead arm, and like he had to hold a pen in it all the time to keep it from shaking. It's like if he didn't have a pen in his hand, his concentration or whatever it was, it would make it like shake and jitter or something like that. So that's why when Norm Macdonald would do Bob Dole, he always had a pen in his hand and the pen would always humorously fly out and then the arm would start to go up. It was good. But yeah, Bob Dole passed away, 96 years old. I believe they say that's a good run. That's Ed says, I think they ran against Clinton in 96, 92 was against Bush. That's right. Yeah. Herbert Walker Bush ran in 92 to try and get a second term, and Clinton beat him, and then Dole challenged him in 96. Thank you, Ed. My memory on that stuff doesn't really do so well.
All I remember is he never won.
Yeah, never won, but was Senate Majority Leader for years and years. The position now held by Mitch the Turtle McConnell, and yeah, he was a bipartisan guy. The Americans with Disabilities Act was his big, which today could never be passed by a conservative Republican. But that was one of his.
I think I remember he did an ED ad.
Bob, really? Oh,
yeah,
way.
I think he did. Like, he was one of the first guys to come out and do an ED ad.
Oh my goodness. Well, now we got to look for that. Now we got to see if that's
because I could have swore I was like, wow, like who's the guy that they're gonna find? And he did an ED ad.
Okay, let's see. It's got to be Viagra, right? Since it was early.
It was one of those.
Oh well, your wish is my command.
Courage.
All right. We got it. YouTube is the best.
See, my memory is right?
Yeah, absolutely. You were right. All right, let's all. If your flag is at half staff, Bob Dole's got some answers for you.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Something shared by countless. Courage. Something shared by countless Americans.
See, look at the pen in his right
hand. Those who risked their lives. Those who battled serious illness. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was primarily concerned with ridding myself of the cancer. But secondly, I was concerned about possible post-operative side effects like erectile dysfunction, ED, often called impotence. It's a little embarrassing to talk about ED, but it's so important to millions of men and their partners that I decided to talk about it publicly. And after all, it can be associated with many conditions, including prostate surgery, high blood pressure, diabetes, or even smoking. The point I want to make is there are many treatments available for ED, so my advice is get a medical checkup. It's the best way to get educated about ED and what can be done to treat it. It may take a little courage, but I've always found that everything worthwhile does.
All right.
Right? See, that they played that in a whole nother direction.
They did. That was the early days of the marketing of ED.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tell you what's cool about that. Bob Dole had a much younger, hot for his demo wife, Liddy Dole. Elizabeth Dole was like 20 years younger than him. So that was basically an admission that, Bob was still banging. He had concerns. He had the hot young wife, and I don't know if she was with him forever. I don't know if she was a second wife or what. But Elizabeth Dole was Elizabeth Dole was an ambassador for a number of years. She was also involved in all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't really think about that till just now. But yeah, he's talking about banging Elizabeth Dole. He's thought that's exactly what he's talking about. Good for him. Good for Bob. A true American hero, war hero.
Which is how they played the commercial up to get you the courage to talk about ED.
If he can do it, hey man, if a guy who gave his arm in service to this country can do it. I think it was a plane crash too. I think he was like a pilot or something. I don't know. But that's why flags are at half staff. Great American. You know what? You know what I feel bad about? It's like back then, I wasn't a Bob Dole guy. I was young, man. I was on the other side back then. But given the Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Lauren Boeberts of today. I'd kill for a couple of Bob Doles. I would kill those guys. That dude worked with people. That dude knew how to, get shit done. That guy wasn't just drilling down on the lowest common denominator. You know what I mean? I mean, he didn't like Ted Kennedy, but him and Ted Kennedy worked on shit together. They could actually, I don't know. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to politicians who aren't just all dug in. Politicians who recognize that they're there as a collective to serve all of us, not just the people in their little bubble. Bob Dole, he's dead. And flags are at half staff. All right. Also, did you see that this has been trending for a while now? It's going to be going on for probably the next few days as we find out exactly what happened. The Crumblies, don't they sound like a family that lives on Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Crumblies
unfortunately, they're worse than that, but yeah.
Man, the Crumblies are, of course, the parents of Oxford high school shooter Ethan Crumbley. They have been indicted on 4 counts of manslaughter, homicide, involuntary manslaughter. They're looking at 60 years each. Each charge brings a maximum 15-year penalty. So charges were brought and they were announced by the prosecutor's office on Friday. They were supposed to have turned themselves in first at 2 p.m. on Friday. Then their lawyers said, we haven't been able to reach them. They are unaware of this. We need to extend this. So then they said 4 p.m. Friday. And boy, oh boy, you know how I love the breaking news and the manhunts. That's what I was watching all night long. I was there listening to the Detroit Police Department scanner when the cops found him. I heard it. Me and Steve Lookner, the guy that I listened to for breaking news on YouTube. It was dramatic, man. It was at about 10 o'clock at night here, let's play this out. I'll explain exactly how this all went down. So the first thing we heard was from the Crumblies' attorney, who suggested that they had gone on the lam. They were the first person to say that they had gone on the lam was the attorney when they said that we have not been able to contact them. We don't know where they are. Then after the U.S. Marshal's office issued a warrant for them and they started the manhunt, then the attorney came back and said, whoa, wait a second, though. They went out of town fearing for their own safety, and they're on their way back in.
Right. I remember that part.
Totally contradicting what they had said earlier about how they'd had no contact with them. So hours go by, they're running. It is now at this point obvious that they're running.
And then we got a report that they had withdrawn $4,000 in cash.
Oh, yeah. Cash. We got descriptions of the car. And here was what was troubling to people. Oxford, Michigan, or not Oxford, Oakland Township, the city of Oxford, Michigan, is only 38 miles from the Canadian border. Now, people were like, well, they wouldn't be able to get through the border. Are you kidding me? It takes 40 minutes, half hour to drive across the border from where they were. That the BOLO wasn't issued until they hadn't shown up for court. They could have found out that they were being charged and theoretically got in their car and been across the border an hour and a half before the BOLO was ever issued. So this whole idea, this isn't like Brian Laundrie, where we're talking about swimming to Cuba or having to traverse half the country just to get to Mexico. These people lived on the border. They could have skated across. However, as it was pointed out, they're not vaccinated. In Canada, it's mandatory that if you're crossing the border, you have to be vaccinated. So
they could. What would it have taken to get vaccinated?
Well, you have to get both shots. So
you
fully
can't
vaccinated.
Just get the Johnson & Johnson one and done.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. But you have to be fully vaccinated, and I don't know if you can do that in 20 minutes, right? Can you get all that stowed away in 20 minutes when you're fleeing the country?
Well, They had a few days before because they were kind of talking about charging them, and that was kind of the interesting part. Like, okay, if you're talking about charging them, you're kind of letting them know, hey, something bad may happen. You're almost like giving them the thought too, hey, maybe we ought to run. Why aren't you watching them at the same time?
So Friday evening, I was basically just monitoring this all night. And then when my kid fell asleep about 10 o'clock, 10:15 at night, I came out this little area here and I started to like really get into it. I had the Detroit police scanners. No, not Detroit. I just had the rig. I was watching this Lookner guy who was covering it and tracing them and, you know, getting all these reports from people from all across the country. Oh, I think I saw the car in Indiana, you know, that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, about 10:15 at night, we heard over the scan, or he reported that the Detroit scanner is saying they think they found the car. So I then jumped over to Detroit. I didn't think they would be 20 minutes away from where they were, right? I figured they'd be long gone. They were only like 20 minutes away from Oxford. And sure enough, you start hearing on the scanner, you know, they're calling for SWAT teams in this particular area. So I'm pulling up the Google Maps and I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, they're right next to the Detroit River, which is the border between America and Canada. Are they swimming for it? Are they going to jet ski it? And then I'm like, it's December in Detroit. Nah, they ain't going in that water. That is a death pool at this stage of the season. So there was a manhunt for a few hours. And then it was about 1 o'clock in the morning when, man, it was like the payoff that you wanted because you got this crackling of the scanner going all night long. We got a DUI, you know, all these other calls, right? Finally, we got him. And it was like, what? What? And then you had to wait. And then the commander over the radio switched to a non-monitored channel, which is what they often do when the real shit starts. So we're like, everybody was, I'm in this crazy Google group, you know, with people and we're chatting about it. We're talking about it. And we're all like, ooh, they got him. And then sure enough, about 2 hours after that, and yes, I was still there eating my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and, you know, just what it was the greatest drama available at the moment. It was all of this little information. So
weren't they like holed up in a warehouse?
Yeah, a warehouse in a really crummy part of Detroit. The warehouse is used by artists as studio spaces, and you know, so well, you're kind of a vibe you're familiar with,
right?
And they were hiding in the basement of one of these art studios in this old warehouse. Now, you want to say abandoned, but it's not abandoned because artists have taken it over and they're using it. But it was an old sort of rundown warehouse. And the car was found first. The car was found earlier in the day. So they tied up the entire neighborhood. They had SWAT teams. They had a command center. Detroit just shut down for like a 2 square mile radius, this entire place. And they were hiding in the building their car was parked in front of. I mean, they didn't even ditch the car, you know, as like a red herring.
I mean, you know, just so you can't fix dumb, you know. I mean, like you went and you withdrew $4,000. They obviously figured that out. You know, I'm sure they had a cell phone at some point in time, which they said they had turned off.
Yep.
So you're smart enough to turn off your cell phone, but you're not smart enough to like ditch your car.
It's not a good look, man. It's just this whole thing makes them look, you know, there may have been some segment of the population before they ran, before they hid, and before there was a manhunt to apprehend them. There may have been some segment of the population who would say, you can't blame the parent. You know what I mean? But I think that has shifted. The minute they turned into like America's Most Wanted, they became, they look guilty. You know, they look like they know there's no way out of this. They know what they did. They were hiding in an artist's studio space. They had arrived earlier in the day, like right around the time that they were supposed to be turning themselves in. The artist who let them in is now being dragged.
He could be in trouble too.
He's gotten himself a lawyer. He claims that he was friends with the Crumblies. They ran to him. Now, what the police now have to try and determine is, what were they invited? Did he offer them? You know, you can't hide a felon. You can't hide someone who's fleeing a manhunt.
Well, even if they told you, even if they asked to come to your studio, if you're knowledgeable, that they're on the run at that point because you've paid attention to TV in the last 4 or 5 hours. You got to say, hey, y'all got to go. I can't be harboring you.
Through his attorney, here is what he's saying. They were people I kind of knew. They came over during the day to visit my studio. I left. I had no idea they were still there. And I didn't know the first thing about what they were going through. So this artist is claiming that he knew nothing. He didn't know their kid was a school shooter. He didn't know. I mean, what are you gonna say, right? At this stage, I mean, if you're busted for aiding and abetting, it didn't work, dude. You tried to hide them and it didn't work. And now you're gonna get in trouble for it. So that's his story. And so far he's sticking to it. That he didn't know what was going on. They were people that he casually knew. He thought they had left when he locked up his studio for the day. They didn't. Like, what do you mean you thought
Well,
they
I mean,
left?
some of these spaces are pretty big, particularly I would imagine
Yeah.
in downtown Detroit. It's not, exactly happening. So you could get a studio space that's quite large, and you're thinking, well, why would anybody want to stay here? Unless you're running from the law.
Says he didn't know they were running from the law. He didn't know anything about the end. Look, if in that area of Michigan, that's got to be it was everywhere. We're 1,500 miles away. We knew about. Well, again, we're a little bit more tuned into what's happening. But I mean, you'd have to think.
Yeah, every sign on the highway that's
yes.
flashing. You see the silver alerts.
Mm-hmm. And then we have this story coming from a neighbor of Oxford High School shooter Ethan Crumblies' family said that she called Children's Protective Services once to complain about the way his parents were raising their son. Apparently, this woman, Kayla Lemieux, said that the Crumbly parents, James and Jennifer, would often leave their son alone at home while they went out to bars. That seems on brand. Just from the way they look, the way they appear, they seem like that. So Kayla Lemieux says the Crumbly parents would leave him alone at home at a very young age when they would go out to bars. On Saturday, the Crumbly parents were arrested and charged with 4 counts of military. We know all this. Okay, let's get to some of these details. Lemieux, who lived in the same residential complex as the Crumblies, said that she made an anonymous phone call to the CPS because she was concerned about the boy being left alone, but she doesn't know if any action was taken after her complaint. She says here, when they were gone, Ethan would come knock on my door, she said, according to the Detroit Free Press. Crumbly would ask me, Ethan would ask me, Lemieux, to call his parents on his behalf because they would go out for hours at a time and not leave him with a phone or any way to contact him. Oh, that's some shit parenting right there, huh?
Yeah. I'm just trying to take this in and then think about that day they said they wanted the kid to go home and the parents insisted no, that he stay there.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just stacking shit parenting moves here, left and right. So apparently they don't have a hard line, which is fine. Most people, don't have. They just have cell phones. You got.
Yeah, I think if I had a hard line, it'd be kind of worthless.
Yeah, it's my mom still has a hard line, but she says she needs it just for her internet. Like it's part of the deal with her internet.
She still thinks it's on AOL.
I don't.
I can't get rid of my phone because I won't have internet.
She's getting
part
better.
of her bundle.
Like
you get a hard line and you get internet.
Look,
no, Ma, you don't have to have the hard line. You can still have internet.
You and I have no right to scoreboard the generation that came before us on their lack of computer. Now we don't know dick either.
I know we don't, but we know that you don't have to have a phone line in order to have the internet.
Look, I was paying for AOL like 5 years after they stopped making people pay. I was still just paying. They owe me like hundreds of dollars because I just never stopped with the automatic debit. It was just like automatically taken out of my bank account. And I remember one day I mentioned, it doesn't look like, or it looks like I got double billed for AOL this month. I said something like that. It was on the air and everybody looked at me like, you don't have to pay for AOL anymore. I go, what? What do you mean? It's like, yeah, you got to get your debit card off that account. They're just going to get, what? How shady was that? AOL just for years. They just kept taking money from me, even though they didn't need to take money from me. It was just, they never let me know. They
You were
probably
still in one of those contracts?
no, not even a contract. It's just in the beginning, you had to pay like $9 a month to have the AOL, service. And that probably lasted for 2 years. And I had it for like 7. So for like 5 years, I was still getting $9 taken out of my checking account every month.
60. Yeah, they owe you about $600.
Jeez. I felt so stupid. That was one of the most humiliating internet related moments of my life. When Bobby and Eric and all of them looked at me like, what? I'm like, I'm still paying for AOL. AOL doesn't charge anymore. They're in competition with free services. They haven't charged in a long time. I'm like, oh, I'm still paying. Okay, so the neighbor says that Ethan would come knock on the door and say, can you call my mom and dad because they're out at a bar and I don't have a phone. I don't have any way to get them. The former neighbor said that she had worked as a restaurant server with Jennifer Crumbley in 2012, adding that she considered her a friend and they often spent time together. However, their relationship faded partially because Lemieux was worried about Ethan and the way he was being raised. So apparently, it goes back. We go back.
So you have a 15-year-old that's basically left at home, who now the prosecutor is trying to charge as an adult. And it appears like he's got some sketchy parents. I don't see this thing getting over the finish line.
What do you mean? All 3, by the way, are on suicide watch, which don't be misled by that. That's not because they're acting suicidal. It was explained this morning that anybody in these kinds of situations get put on suicide watch.
Yeah, when I say getting over the finish line, I don't think they're going to be able to. I mean, if this kid can, yeah, well, I think you'll be able to get a conviction. I just don't know that you're going to be able to get a conviction as an adult if you can start to show, if you're the kid's defense attorney, that the parenting was less than should be.
That is another wrinkle. They are actually saying now that Ethan, the kid, could possibly really lessen his charges if he flips on the parents and talks about, all the bad stuff. And why wouldn't he? These were parents who went on the lam while he was in jail. They didn't stay there visiting him every day, making sure. Look, all I can say is I would never be in this situation. I would never find myself in this kind of situation with my son. But if my son was behind bars facing these kinds of charges, I would be there with him every single day. Every single day. Whether somewhere in my mind I thought he was a monster, he is still my kid. I wouldn't abandon him. These parents ran. These parents just
forget the ran. How about the LOL?
Yes.
You need to learn how not to get caught.
Right. She sent him a text after he was in trouble for on Monday, the day before the shooting. He got in trouble for searching for ammo on a school computer. The principal called the mom. The mom immediately texted the son and said, I'm not mad at you. You just need to learn how to not get caught. LOL. What the hell?
Yeah. I mean, just so you start there. You then continue on to, okay, they're on the lam, they're on the run. They then get caught, and now people are starting to pop up going, yeah, we called child services because the parents are always out at bars and this kid's left alone. And he would come down and use my cell phone and to try to, have me ring up his mom. And, oh, by the way, I also did work with her at a fast food restaurant as a waitress somewhere.
So let's make this picture a little bit clearer. She worked with her in 2012. That's when she was friendly with her. And she stopped being friendly with her, she says, in large part due to how she saw her raising her son. So let's say that they were last friendly in 2013. That was 8 years ago. This kid is 15 now. So this kid was being left alone at 5, 6, and 7 without a phone while his parents were going out to bars.
I mean, it's just not a good look.
Oh my God. 5, 6, and 7 years old. My kid is 12. We had this experience yesterday. I needed to run up to the gas station and fill up my tank because I knew I was going to wake up early today. You were out walking the dog. We had 2 insane children running around like mad on the roof of the house. We had kids.
Yeah, I was walking the dog and you called me. You're like, oh, wait a minute. When are you going to be back? I'm like, oh, I should be back in about 10 minutes. Wait a minute. I got to go. So they're on the roof of the house. I was like, what?
Look at no, not they, mine. Yours was fine. Although I think yours
He was
talked mine.
instigating it. Yeah, he talked him into going on the roof.
Talked him into opening the window to Dominic, your son's bedroom. And my son, I look out the window here in the guest house and I'm like, holy crap, my kid is walking around on the roof of the house. And then I run down there. I was talking to you and I hung up the phone. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, okay, so we got a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old. Neither of us are going to leave them alone. You were out walking the dog. I was on duty. I had to wait for you to come back from walking the dog before I could then go to the gas station. I swear to, and you know what I did? I'm so embarrassed. When I hung up with you, I ran right down there and I stood in the backyard in this beautiful neighborhood where everything echoes. And I said, get your ass off that roof now. Like a hillbilly.
Probably better than what I would have said.
Like hillbilly white trash. And all I could think, and then I yelled at him, I go, this is not the kind of neighborhood where you can be walking around like white trash on the roof.
It was so funny that now that when you told me they were doing that yesterday, I was like, oh my God. When I was putting out the Christmas decorations in the front yard, like before, and then I went in the backyard and I saw that the big branch had fallen on the roof. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I need to get out on the roof. How am I going to do that? And then I looked at Dominic's bedroom windows, like the front windows to the street.
Perfect access.
And I was like, oh my God, this kid can go off the roof.
Yes, he can.
And out in the front yard, and we'll never know. And he'll like make his way back in. And I'm thinking to myself, so I'm going to have to figure out how to like get those windows like tied down.
Alarms on the windows.
Yeah. So he can't do that. And then no sooner than like 5 days later, him and Mason are here and they figure out the same access that I saw like 5 days earlier. And I was like, oh my gosh, crazy.
Here's how it started. I can actually back this up. So they were having a Nerf gun fight in the backyard, and my son shot a Nerf bullet up on the roof. And I was walking down to do something. I don't know what the hell. Oh, the dog was going nuts. So I came down to get the dog up here so that they could continue having their little Nerf war. And as I was walking down there, your son says to me, okay, I got to go up on the roof and get that bullet. And I looked and I saw the bullet on the roof and I go, you are not going up on the roof. What's the matter with you? I mean, I'm like crazy dad who's just yelling, what are you, dense? You're not going up. So then your son took me up to his bedroom and I opened the window and I was able to sort of reach where the bullet was without going out on the roof. I was able to reach the bullet and I pulled it in and I closed the window. And then I thought, they're going to, that's not
do this again.
They now know that you can reach the roof through that window. And sure enough, half hour later, I'm talking to you on the phone. I look out the window and there's my kid walking around the roof with a Nerf gun like he's some kind of
sniper.
Yes. It looked like, in the Munich Olympics where the terrorists took over. It looked like that. He's walking around with a big Nerf gun like he's taking over the house.
I went out for the angel tree and I didn't know that was a smart decision. So we went, the angel tree was, so I got all the gifts for the angels. So we took them out Saturday. That's where I told you we had to go deliver stuff. So I was at Target and they were like, buy 2 Nerf guns or was it 2? Get a third one free or I think it was buy 2, get a third one free. So, and it was on the angel tree that you want a Nerf gun. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to buy the Nerf gun. So then we got the third one. And then we delivered them, and then I came back, and then Dom was like, okay, let's go find Mason and do the Nerf gun fight. And that started the whole
what happened.
Thing.
Yeah, they were having fun with it. They were enjoying it, but I'm telling you.
These Nerf guns, dude, like they've changed now. So they had the bullets, right? And so you got a bunch of the bullets that fit like the normal Nerf guns.
Mhm.
Now they got Nerf Gun Ultra, where the bullets are different shape than the original bullets. And I think that's why they had to get these, because they only had 4 that come, and then you got to go buy a pack of. But these bullets will shoot like 120 feet with a Nerf gun.
Nerf technology is unbelievable. I've spent hundreds of dollars over the years on high-end rifles and bazooka launchers and stuff. I mean, my mother, her garage, when all the stuff that I didn't take with, her garage is just filled with Mason's Nerf technology. It's insane. These things, and you saw the
That's
prices.
what we should do. We should do a gun exchange. For everybody that has a gun, you need to trade it in. You need to get a Nerf gun or a paintball gun. Like that should be the maximum damage that you should be able to do with a gun.
It should be, but Second Amendment,
I
that
know.
goes. And you probably saw, there are Nerf guns upwards of $200. I mean, they have some really elaborate stuff that come in boxes that you'd think,
Yeah, there's like a Gatling gun one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mace had that with the little belt that you feed.
Feed it and just keep on going.
And it's got the mount. It's like, that thing was like $180. It's insane. So that's why I was interested when Dom, started bringing the Nerf guns around. I'm like, oh God, I thought we were past the Nerf gun stage. Now I got to buy more Nerf guns, or maybe I can just have Grandma send all the Nerf guns in like a big FedEx package.
Yeah, a big care package.
Yeah. All right, what else is trending? We followed the Crumblies there. What else do we have here? Let's see here. Oh boy. Okay, Chris Cuomo is trending. Let's talk a little bit about Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo was fired from CNN on Saturday evening in a shocking move. Chris Cuomo was the highest rated primetime show on CNN, and they did not hesitate to blow him out. He was first suspended for a bunch of days, and then on Saturday, which was a bit of a favor to him, I would imagine, because isn't it the famous Saturday Night Massacre when Richard Nixon fired all of his people? And the reason they do that is because if you do it on Saturday night, then it's too late for it to make the Sunday papers, because the Sunday papers have already gone to print, and you have to wait until Monday, and then hopefully there'll be bigger stories by Monday. So it lessens the damage to one's reputation when you do this at the time they did it on Saturday night. So it was a nice little favor that CNN did. Although we live in the era where people aren't dependent on newspapers, stories gets published all the time online. But it is believed that it was the least that they could have done. They blew him out. Why? Because it was revealed that his embattled brother, the disgraced former governor of the state of New York, Andrew Cuomo, remember he's he of the nipple rings. Weirdo. He's like 65 and he's got nipple rings or whatever he is. Just weird. He was groping and grabbing and all of this kinds of stuff. And Chris Cuomo, who, if you're familiar with his act, and boy, oh boy, it seems to be an act now, because when it concerned his family, Chris Cuomo was always one of these, we cannot blame the women. We must believe the women. He was one of these guys. It was like all holier than thou. And
well, it's your brother.
Until it's your brother. And then when it was his brother, he led some shadow investigation on behalf of his brother to find scuzzy information about the accusers. And there were text messages and emails that were revealed. And CNN, they were like, he's gone. Get rid of him. Yeah.
I got to say, it's tough if you're in his shoes, because you want to believe your brother.
Of course, it's a difficult situation to be in, but this is what happens when you mix people who are supposed to be objective journalists, who are only in their positions because of nepotism. Do you think would that guy be doing sports in Buffalo if his last name was Jones? Yeah, probably, but his last name was Cuomo. So he was fast-tracked because he came from a privileged, well-known family.
And that's the point.
Like so everybody at CNN
you're fast-tracked because your dad was the governor at one point in time. Mm-hmm. Then your brother's the governor.
Mm-hmm.
And now that which got you fast-tracked is under fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm imagining in some ways you've got what you feel some obligation to be loyal
It's
to
your
that
brother.
which fast tracked you
Your brother. Yeah. He was in
and
a
your brother and your family member. And so if your brother's saying, Chris, these girls are not, I didn't really do it, da, 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 and you're then trying to find out information about these people and you're using your position, you probably have some blurred lines in your mind and
Of
in your
course.
moral code.
Do as I say, not as I do. He was always
And
so self-righteous about these issues.
so I think anybody could get caught up in this trap.
Mm.
If you've got loyalty for family.
And everybody should have loyalty for family, but he was incredibly, as I said, he was a self-righteous, condescending, preachy dude, especially on the subject of Me Too. He was a favorite of the ladies. He was the hunky CNN guy who was charming and smart and so good looking and so buff. And he played into that. I am an advocate for you ladies. I am an ally for you ladies, until it became his brother. And then he threw all that out of the way. That's why I say that it was an act. That's why I say that he was just a big performative douche the whole time. All of that stuff. I mean, I remember him. Yeah. Here's the problem, though. Here's the real problem. CNN still likes to pretend that their infotainment hosts are journalists. And so they hold them to journalistic standards. This thing that he was fired for is only a problem if you believe that Chris Cuomo is a true journalist who has to live in the objective realm. He's not. He's a television show host. He works for ratings, not for truth. That is a very big distinction. A reporter who works for a newspaper who's going out breaking stories, yes, there is some pressure, of course, for readership and all that. But a journalist is not supposed to be concerned with such things. Chris Cuomo was a ratings guy. He was concerned about ratings, and he was masquerading as a journalist. He was once a journalist, but he wasn't anymore. He stopped being a journalist when he started becoming a performance artist on CNN. He posed as a journalist. I worked at ABC News back in the days of all of that kind of stuff. So CNN treats their guys, Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper, they still hold them to the standard of journalistic integrity when no other group does it. Fox News, it was revealed that Sean Hannity was having nightly conversations with the president of the United States and then going on the air and singing his praises, which is a far more egregious thing than a guy sticking up for his brother. And you know what happened when everybody slammed Fox News for that? Fox News said, so what? CNN, liberals do this. And I'm not saying that CNN is liberal, although they probably are. Certainly Cuomo is. Liberals do this. They're the only people left who seem to think that there is honor in falling on your sword. Look at Al Franken. Al Franken took a picture where he was pretending to honk the boobs of somebody, and he resigned from the U.S. Senate. Matt Gaetz paid underage prostitutes with Venmo, and he's not doing anything. He ain't going anywhere. I don't understand why one side still pretends like people fucking care. They do. They pretend like, well, this is an untenable situation, and if we're going to have any integrity at all, the American people will not stand for us not having integrity. That is bullshit.
Well, but I think that
American people don't care.
The left has been tagged with trying to hold the right accountable. And the right is like, oh, these lefties, they're always trying to hold us accountable, but yet they're just as guilty, when really it started with the left going, no, it's the righties that are saying that they're holier than thou.
Right. And
they're really not.
Their own, like they want to lead by example. You see, if we're going to have all of these accusations against these right people who are doing all of these bad things, when these bad things happen to us, we must fall on our sword. There is honor in being held to a higher standard. No, there isn't. That's how you lose. That the American people, this belief that the American people will not sit and let a guy get away with something is bullshit. So look, the one thing I always say about Trump that I admire the hell out of was that Trump was big on, yeah, so what? That was his response to everything bad that he did, that anybody else would have resigned over.
That was, still is.
Well, yes. And look, that works. So now everybody on that side is like, huh, never thought that would work.
Do you know he's coming to town here?
Don't care. Was he gonna welcome JFK Jr. back?
December the 19th, him and Bill O'Reilly are going to be at the AAC.
Yeah. All right. So
I saw that ticket. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
What else do we have here? All right. Speaking of him, we may as well talk about this. We try not to be political, and I don't want to be political, but this is just too funny to ignore. So here's what we've got trending. We've got Barron trending. We've got Ivanka trending. We've got what is it? A Christmas White House. I can't see it. Whatever. Christmas White House trending. But also we've got Christmas penis trending. Let's dive into Christmas penis. Now, all of those other trends are tied into Christmas penis. They're all trending together under the same story. They're just people hashtag the same story with different sort of hashtags. So here's why Christmas penis is trending. Let's see if you can enjoy this. So former President Donald Trump, he sent out his Christmas card, every year. Highfalutin families that make the Christmas cards. Me and my mom never did, but we received them in the mail. And typically, what is it? It's like, where is it? There's, it's a picture of the family, right? Look at us. Oh, it was such a great year. We hope you all enjoyed the year. All right, so this is what Trump released as his Christmas card, and this is why it's got the Twitters going crazy. Here you go. All right. Can you see it? Now, do you maybe see why Christmas penis is trending? Yeah, look at this. This is okay. So here's the deal. So
how in the world do you not see that immediately?
Here you got the ball sack right here.
Not only that, but it looks like it's ejaculating onto the star.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Sad as rainbow. So you got the balls. You got the shaft, but people are okay. So there's so much to unpack with this, and this is not political. We're just making fun because making fun is fun. All right, so here's what we got.
Oh, I'm gonna get that. I haven't made a Facebook post in a while.
Here's what it says: "Merry Christmas from the Winter White House, December 2021." Okay, so
he's referring that is to being Mar-a-Lago.
Like, yeah, and like he's still president. Like he's reviewed President Donald J. Trump. But here, so you got him in the front here, all front and center. And does this say Christmas? Look at that face. Look at that. That ain't Christmas.
Oh, I gotta see if I can get this on Google. They gotta have that up, right?
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Just Donald Trump Christmas card. Just go ahead.
Christmas penis.
All right. So here's okay, so look at his face, right? So his face, that's not Christmassy. That you don't want that guy having Christmas dinner with you. That guy's not gonna get. That guy's a lump of coal right here. But here's another thing that people got a problem with.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of. I just Googled Christmas penis, and there's not this picture. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah. Just do be the more direct. Just
right.
Trump Christmas card.
Donald Trump.
So right here, very tiny and insignificantly placed in the background, you've got Ivanka first, and then Melania, which is, kind of weird. Ivanka first, Melania, then Don Jr., then Eric, and then Tiffany.
Where's Barron?
Exactly. He doesn't even include his son.
I guess he didn't want to be on. Maybe they don't for purposes of.
It just looks bad. It looks bad. It's just like not a part of your family. And look at what these aren't even Christmas photos. Like, look at what Don Jr. is wearing. He's like wearing a ball cap, and he's on.
Look at the outfit that he's in. What is that? Like a tux with tails?
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying. They're saying this is indicative of pretty much how he rolls all the time. There is no quality control. How could he have seen this and okayed it and said, "Yeah, that's fine. Put it out to everyone on the globe. Let everyone see. And how do you not like the person who put this together, right? This has got to be a joke. This is a dick and it's jizzing all over the sky. I mean, it's unmistakable.
Oh my God. Like, I
Crazy.
just don't like this
Gift
guy
of
was in
Thanksgiving.
charge of the show The Apprentice. Like, he was supposed to be quality control on what future people were doing and how this gets
funny.
out.
That
I
dude
mean,
is
you
funny.
see it immediately.
That dude is funny. I'll tell you what, no politics. That dude is funny. He's the funniest president we've ever had, bar none. That card, I don't know if it's intentionally funny. Maybe, I don't know, but just above and beyond all that, he's funny. All right, what else is trending? Latinx is trending. Are you familiar with the whole Latinx dilemma? Latinx seems to be the new term that we're all being forced to use when we refer to our Latino and Latina brothers and sisters. The Dems are demanding that people now refer to that group as Latinx, which they might be. But a new poll put out there by Politico today says that absolutely nobody. Here, let's see here. There was a poll done among Latinos about the term Latinx, and here's what they discovered.
Dude, on Google, I tried to share the image and they like chop it right where so you can't get the full effect of the penis.
No, that doesn't work. You got to get the full effect.
Yeah.
So according to a new poll, 2% of Latinos say they will ever use Latinx. 2% of Latinos not going to use it. 40% of Latinos find the term Latinx offensive. 30% say they don't want to vote for a candidate who ever uses it, including 1/4 of all Latin Democrats. So, this is just another example of the freaking liberal Democrats doing stupid shit to try and morally scoreboard everybody. No. We've got a new term and you must all abide by this new rule because we're making it now. Well, who are you to be making that rule? And that's exactly what's happening here. Latin is stupid. Come on. There's nothing offensive about calling a Latin person Latino or Latina. How is that? No, Latinx. You must call it that now. Well, I don't want to call it that. Racist. It's this endless moral scoreboarding by these people. I can't take it anymore. So that's why Latinx is trending today. Also trending today. Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling. Fun fact: Charlie Cox, who played Daredevil on the Netflix series Daredevil, will continue to play Daredevil in all of the Marvel Universe productions of Daredevil. So that means he's basically what that means is that if they ever make a Daredevil movie, and I think they are, he's going to be the role. He's going to get to play it, the guy from the TV. Jack in the Box is buying Del Taco for $530 million. So if you like Del Taco was seen by Jack in the Box as their primary competitor for the cheap taco market. So if you love Del Taco, better get some because Jack's going to shutter that place and turn them all into Jack in the Boxes. That's why they're buying them, to close them down.
Yeah, they opened one here. I remember it was at like 635.
Oh, no, there was one at Mockingbird and Inwood.
Yeah, and there was one, but that got shuttered quickly.
Yeah, that's the one I went to on the way home.
Now is the Chick-fil-A.
Oh, is that a Chick-fil-A now? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it was like a Del Taco and a Starbucks, like jammed both into that one little space. And then they finally got rid of it wasn't even a Starbucks. It was a Seattle's Best Coffee and Del Taco. Yeah,
I like Jack in the Box too.
Well, I don't know. I think Jack in the Box has kind of turned into Burger King.
No, I'm not a big Burger King fan, but I do love.
They've kind of fallen from grace, kind of the way Burger King has.
Do you know that when you go to Burger King and you get, well, actually, it's probably not the case here because it's different, but up in Chicago, when you go to Burger King and get their Burger King tacos, those are Jack in the Box tacos. They made a deal with Jack in the Box because Jack in the Box isn't in the Chicago market. They used to be in the Chicago market, but they got ran out like 30 years ago because of poisoning. Like a bunch of their food went bad and a bunch of people got sick. And then before you know it, every Jack in the Box in the Chicago area is gone. So we haven't had them for like 30, 40 years in Chicago, but their cheap tacos are good, man. Probably terrible for you. I mean, you can just taste how bad they are for you, but they are delicious. You know, they're greasy and they're crunchy and it's like, ugh. But when you go to a Burger King in the Chicago area and you get their Burger King tacos for, I want to say they're like 99 cents each, those are Jack in the Box tacos. Same thing, same exact thing. They buy them from Jack in the Box. They just sell them there.
You get 10 for $1 in that one box.
It's a good deal, man. Those are very good. Let's see, what else do we have here?
How come you're not touching the Russia thing?
A little too political.
It's not politics.
We were actually just going to go into the China thing, but we can get into the, well, first of all,
so much. Hey, how about like Google satellite images? Like, I mean, why are we waiting until tomorrow to talk to these guys? We can see they're all lined up sitting there on the border.
Yeah, the situation he's talking about is that it appears that Russia is about to invade the Ukraine, which could be a problem. Could be a real problem.
You think?
Well, I mean, look, they did this with Crimea about 5 years ago now. And the deal was that they were just going to take over Crimea because they wanted access to the port there. It's a big major. I mean, Russia was basically landlocked on that part of their country, except for the little Crimea peninsula or whatever it is. So they went in and they had bases there. So they just went in and they said, okay, we already have military bases here. Now we're taking over the entire country. And they got swallowed up by Russia and we saber rattled at them. You know, it was like, you can't do this. And then they said, well, come on. It's not like we're going to invade Ukraine or anything. We're like, okay, well, if you're just going to take over Crimea. The problem with all of this is NATO. NATO is on the border of all of these places. So at what point, where are they going to stop? Here we are like 5-6 years later, and now they're doing exactly what they said they weren't going to do when they took over Crimea. They're going to go into the Ukraine. They're going to do exactly what they said they won't. And then what are they going to do? They're going to go into Poland next? Are they grabbing up all of their former territories, that's what it looks like. And that's the fear. And is anybody going to stop them? I don't think anybody is. I think Putin knows nobody gives a shit enough about these people to start an all-out war with us over us grabbing back the countries that were once a part of the Soviet Union.
I think it's going to turn into a war, dude.
Dude, our bigger problems are China. I mean, I think
I get that too, but I'm saying I think it's not by coincidence that both are kind of happening at the same time. I think Putin is taking advantage of that, and he's just been moving everybody here to the. But I mean, if they're not invading, what the hell are they doing?
I don't know. No, they're obviously invading. This is exactly the same steps that we saw that led up to the Crimean invasion, and every step of the way. No, we're not. No, we're not. Yes, we are. And then it was too late, and it was.
Well, it's like this phone call that's staged for tomorrow. I'm right, like, if I'm the U.S., I'm on the phone and go, hey, we don't need to talk tomorrow. We can talk now.
So what are you going to do? I mean, honestly, what is the step? We have NATO, and NATO is shitting in their pants because NATO is the first line of defense. NATO is looking at Poland and all of the other countries there in Europe that are now suddenly.
I think as NATO, you got to stand up and go, okay, if it's on, it's on. And I think Putin backs down. I think you don't want to take on NATO. You're basically in the same place that Germany was.
Yeah.
If you get to take on NATO. And I don't think they want that. But I think they will push the envelope until somebody stands up and goes, okay, let's get it on.
Obviously, the economic sanctions and all of that stuff doesn't work. That shit doesn't work. We've been doing it for years and years, and Putin keeps doing whatever the hell he wants to do. The other issue that's big today is that Biden administration announced a diplomatic boycott of China going into the Olympics, the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah,
Now,
and then they rattled the saber back and said, okay, if you do that, we're going to do something else.
what, you're not going to show NBA games? I mean, our big problem is with China. China, the issue between China and America may not be a hot war, as they say, a shooting war, which is really what it's looking like with Russia. That's because that's a land grab over there. But our issue with China is an existential issue for what America is truly. The problem there is that, I mean, I would say that China is probably the single greatest threat to the Western supposed moral superiority, right? China does some absolutely abysmal things in the human rights realm. They do things that we do not accept.
Oh, their camps are ridiculous.
We do things that we make speeches about, and this will not stand. Well, guess what? It does stand, because there's 1.4 billion people in China, and we want to do business with them. So right now, the moral conundrum that the United States of America and the West in general is having to consider with China is, what's more important to us, being moral in defending the rights of human beings, or making that money, baby, making that money? That is the conundrum that we're facing with China.
I don't think it's only money. I think it's that we rely on them for a certain amount of supplies, that drugs, for example, things that are made in China that are not made here.
No, they buy way more than we buy from them. I know
Yeah,
it
but
seems
they
like
make
everything at the
certain
dollar store is
things
made in
there
China,
that would
but
hurt us if we didn't have them for a period of time until we ramped up to do them here.
we would be fine in that area. It's
with
all about
certain drugs
American
we
businesses.
wouldn't be.
Well, so what? What, we can't do
Well,
it
but
here
I mean,
either?
but those people would be sacrificed without those drugs. There would be a certain amount of people that would die because we're not getting the drugs that are manufactured in China. Now, why we haven't built up a surplus of those, anticipating that this may happen someday, is somewhat interesting.
I think the larger issue is American businesses who make a whole lot of money dealing with China. And if you were to stop doing that because we don't abide by the way they treat their people, then, well, look, if we are a moral people, we're not. That's the problem. See, this is just like the Chris Cuomo thing with CNN. They are firing Chris Cuomo because the people will not abide by somebody who is so ethically challenged. Yes, they will. The American people are moral. We care about human rights. No, we really don't. That shit sounds fine, but we honestly, when push come to shove, we don't give a shit about anybody but ourselves. Everything is bullshit. Everything. The moral superiority of the West and the free economy and the human rights and all of that stuff, those are all things that sound great from a concert stage when U2 is about to come out. But in the real world, no. It's about money. It's about how much money do we make doing business with bad people. And just look at the microcosm of this is the NBA in China. The way the NBA gets completely pushed around by China simply because they want to sell 1.4 billion people shoes. That's 2.8
Well, it's
billion
Nike.
pairs.
It's actually Nike, but
which is
the NBA.
Yes, yeah, they're 1-1 there. So I mean, it's just ridiculous. Daryl Morey, famously of Houston, he tweeted out free was it Taiwan or Hong Kong or whatever it was. He tweeted out his support for a government that was being oppressed by the Chinese regime. And the NBA basically shut him down. He got fired. He got fired in Houston. I mean, he's in Philly now, so that all worked out fine for him. He just went to Philly and built a new team, and Houston sucks now. So, but I mean, all he did was stick up for people who, Enes Kanter, we've talked about Enes Kanter on this show. That's a guy who is standing up, and what happens to him? He gets in trouble. Why? Because you can't watch Celtics games now in China. Who the fuck cares? Well, I mean, seriously, with the NBA, that will not abide.
Well, and you can't buy Celtics merchandise.
Yeah, 1.4 billion people can't wear Larry Bird jerseys. Mm-hmm. We don't really care about people. We care about money. And that is the test that we're going through right now with China. It's an existential test. It is something that means more about who we are and how we're going to move forward than, the Russian land grab. Although the Russian land grab is scary because bullets hurt. That's more of an immediate
Well,
thing.
I just don't know that sanctions or any type of diplomacy is going to work with this fool.
Putin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
I honestly think that real hardcore sanctions against the Chinese will work. They have worked in the past. We've brought them back to the table and we've had them, make some changes simply based on sanctions that have been put in place in the past. But this thing that Biden did today, you know what he did today? Diplomatic sanctions. It's essentially he's going, we're not talking to you. The fuck? What is that supposed to do? They don't care. They don't want to talk to you anyway. Close down their banks in this country. That'll get their attention. But no, we won't do that because, we're talking about money. And money is far more important than human beings. Okay, somebody else who doesn't really give a shit about human beings. Did you see Patriot Front is trending? You know what this is about? Did you see this over the weekend?
No.
Okay, so we got some new, and this is a Texas-based. Oh my God. It's a white supremacy group.
Texas-based. Oh my God, doesn't sound good.
I just hate that it's got to be based in Texas. Really, shit's got to be based here. So Patriot Front has been trending all weekend because it was Saturday night on the mall in Washington D.C. This white supremacist group, they staged like a big march, just like the guys in Charlottesville. Remember the Tiki Torch guys? The Jews will not replace us. Okay, well, it's another version of that group, and they marched earlier this summer in Philly, and then on Saturday they marched in Washington. It's a white power group, and here, well, look, let's just see what this is. See if I can find this. Where is the story? You know what? It doesn't matter. But anyway, here, I got some good video that I'll share with you because this is fun. Hold on. I'm getting Mr. Popular. Please. All right. Sorry. That was my response to something that Ed said. Everybody fears everything. All right. So this group, they were made fun of. All right. First of all, this is a far right-wing white power group. Are they becoming normalized, these groups? I mean, are they? There was a time, I remember growing up in the 80s, the skinheads and the Nazis and the Klan were basically universally thought to be terrible, awful people. But now I'm starting to wonder, because of the previous 4 years and, all of are they becoming...
Those good people on both sides comment?
Yes, the good people on both sides. Do we have like a normalization of... And I wonder, is it because people who are 30 years old today, they're too young to have been raised by grandparents who fought Nazis in World War II? I'm wondering, are we so far removed now from our fight against fascism that people just don't remember and they think, well, I don't like blacks either, so maybe they are on to something, Jews... Didn't we cross that? Didn't we cross the Jews off the list? I just thought like in the 90s, like Jews weren't really anything that people hated anymore. But I'm wrong. I'm wrong. So in Washington, D.C., they had this big giant march, and apparently there was a staging area where when the march was over, all of these dudes got their rides back to wherever it was that they came from. And the way they did this was they had a whole bunch of U-Haul trucks. And like 50 guys would climb in the back of a U-Haul truck, and the truck would take these people wherever. So on Saturday night, the staging area was surrounded by local teenagers. So you have all of these white power people in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is not a very white neighborhood. It's a very black city. and with gang members and all of this. So you have all these white power guys from Texas who are marching in uniforms that look like Best Buy outfits. They're all wearing khakis, they're all wearing blue polos, and they're all wearing masks. Okay, they look like they work at Best Buy. And they are all gathered in this parking lot around these U-Hauls, waiting to be taken away. And the city's bangers showed up. So here we got some video of that. Would you like to see that?
Sure.
Want to see what happened when the city's bangers told the Nazis to get the hell out of our city? Because this is how it went down. All right, let's bring this up. Can you see it? Is it Sharon?
So they really Nazis?
All right. Is it Sharon?
Yep. So
All
so the Nazis are in the
masks and the khakis.
and the khakis. All right.
So let's see what happens here as they're trying to get into their trucks to escape or to leave, just leave. And then a whole bunch of Washington, D.C. youngins show up.
Nah, they white. They white supremacists. So they trying shit. Oh, they trying to defend it. No, they trying to take over like Queen America and shit. And, like, oh. Yo, what the fuck? Oh shit!
Get out of here, you rats! That's it. Punch him out. Beat the fuck out of him.
Oh, fuck him up!
That's it.
These niggas start hopping out the back of the truck. Yo, fuck you niggas up! They trying to escape!
Just throw him.
He's their bitches! These niggas got smokes coming out the trucks and shit. This shit like a Call of Duty campaign out in this.
What we gotta do. That's what we gotta do, man. Every time they show up in your town, you gotta show up and you gotta tell them they ain't welcome here. That's the only way. I mean, I don't care how right you are, how I don't care if you're a member of MAGA or whatever, or how conservative you consider yourself. Isn't that a bridge too far? Isn't the white power thing a bridge too far? And if it's not, then you're lost. And I hope that in every city where they start showing up and marching, they are greeted by teenagers and whoever who do not subscribe to that. And they show them, because these people don't live in these communities. They want to do this in Dothan, Alabama. Go ahead. You bring that shit to major American cities, you better be ready for a fight. And if that's what it's going to take, fighting in the streets, you got to stand up for America, man. America is not a fascist country. We fought the Nazis in World War II. I mean, it's an ugly thing to think about that, we might have these kinds of open battles in the streets, but that's how it's got to go down. I got one more to show from you. This is when they showed up in Philadelphia. What happened there? We'll go to this guy. This is a no, not that one. That ain't it. This is a okay. So okay, that ain't it. God damn it. Okay, never mind. I don't have it. Maybe we'll show it later. They showed up in Philadelphia over the summer, and a local news station was interviewing a white Philadelphia cop who was explaining what exactly happened. And the cop seemed to take some real joy in the notion that they ran like bitches. Like, you don't come to Philadelphia and think you can pull that here. They ran. I'm telling you, I saw them. They ran. Like, this is a cop in uniform talking to the camera. And he was smiling, and it was like really cool. It was like, here's a white cop who seems to be really enjoying the idea that a bunch of local Philadelphia kids chase some neo-Nazis out of the city. It was cool.
That is good.
Yeah, let me see. Maybe actually, you know what? I really want to see. I really want to see that one, and I know that I have it. So I did some stupid, dumb shit. Nope, that was the girl collapsing with the car. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. Hold on, folks. We're almost out of time here. That's fine. But just want to make sure we leave with this. Yep. Okay. Never mind. We're not going to find it. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, how about Jenna Ryan was trending earlier today? Do you remember Jenna Ryan?
Why do I know that name?
She was the Capitol rioter, the
Oh,
North
yeah,
Texas
yeah,
real
yeah.
estate girl.
Uh-huh.
Okay. She's
Okay.
a bit of a lunatic. She put out a video today. She's getting ready to go to prison, and
the only thing
she is
Okay.
She was the one who said she wasn't going to prison.
Oh yeah, there's no way she's going to prison. Turns out she is going to prison. She's got a report in a couple of weeks, and it seems like she's gonna make the best of it. So God bless little old Jenna Ryan. She's okay. Here we go. Let's watch the video that she put out today, and the reason why Jenna Ryan is trending.
So here's the deal. I am going to prison in 3 weeks. At the first week in January, I have to report to prison. And the only thing that I can see that's good about having to go to prison is that I'm going to be able to work out a lot and do a lot of yoga and detox. And also I can't eat because the food is awful and there's just no food. So hopefully they have like some protein shakes and some
What?
protein bars, I think, because you don't want to eat like green bologna.
She's crazy. She is a crazy person. She is
you-
delusional.
Have
Protein
you ever
shakes.
been to prison, chick?
She thinks they serve green bologna, but might have protein shakes.
That's what they have to eat. So I'm going to end up losing weight in prison. Everyone's telling me that I'll lose weight. So hopefully I'll finally get down to my ideal weight because I won't be able to drink.
Nope.
I won't be able to eat. I won't be able to eat like stupid stuff like chips and all the stuff I eat sometimes. So I just wanted to go ahead. Don't look at my toes because I'm too freaked out to have a pedicure lately. But this is how much I weigh today. And I'm thinking that I can get down to, 140, so 30 pounds in 2 months.
Okay.
If I do that, then it will be worth going to prison for 60 days.
Oh.
If I can lose
It'll be worth it.
30 pounds,
It'll be worth it to her.
it would be so worth it.
Oh.
So you have to look at the bright side of everything you do. And that's what I'm trying to do. So wish me luck.
Crazy ass delusional woman. What? I mean, what? She's hoping they have protein shakes
and protein bars. Like most people I know that go to prison gain weight because their food is so carb laden, like it's crap.
Protein shakes. Food's really bad there. They
do lots of yoga.
Yeah. Okay. In between what? Picking up trash and doing dishes.
I mean, you're in an 8x8 cell with somebody else. Like they're gonna leave you space to spread out and do yoga.
She's a crazy, gross lady. She's delusional. All right, thank you, E. Maybe come back for Pillow Talk tonight.
I got a Bills game tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You won't be around. That's fine. You check in. You can
I'll
check
in.
Yeah. All right. There he goes, everybody. That's E the artist. He is back on the show. Thank you, E. Appreciate it. All right. The best is yet to come. Best to come. Oh, I'll do that thing, after the theme where I hang out in the chat room for a little bit, and then we'll go through some of the things that I missed. It's like a Marvel film. You don't walk out till the very last credit is rolled. All right, folks. See you in a few. I don't have the green. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down
on the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.
And we're back. All right. A little different. Today's show seemed a little bit different than it had been the last couple of days. I don't know. I feel like I didn't get to cover a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to do. I guess I got used to doing it by myself. I mean, I love having somebody to talk to, but I don't know. We'll have to work through that. We'll have to figure out exactly, find a happy medium for me. All right. It's part of the show where I like to go back and look at the people in the chat room and some of the things that you said, because I don't always have the time to, oh my God, to address these thoughts, these pearls of wisdom. Well, and it's going to be a quick one because it looks to me like pretty much Jeff was the most active person in the chat room today. It's all Jeff. Oh, no, there we go. We got some more. All right. Thank you. Jeff says early on in today's show that I do I do fine on my own. I appreciate that. Leslie helped us out. No echo. We got E back in good with no echo. Bunch of you saying no echo, no echo. All good, no echo. All sound good. Steve says afternoon all. Hi, Steve. Afternoon. Sorry, buddy. Adam Reyna used to go to Dave & Buster's a lot in his 20s. It was the only arcade for a while. Now there are tons of retro arcades. Jeff Glenn says, I've recently lost an uncle. Maybe E would consider filling that void in my life. We could bass fishing. We don't necessarily have to go to Cuba. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, I'm telling you, my kid, it's becoming more and more clear to me that my kid prefers the company of his fun Uncle E to me. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I think everybody should have a fun uncle. This situation first revealed itself when we were out on the lakes jet skiing, when my son said he would prefer to go ride with E because he's more fun on the jet ski. To which I said, that's only because he doesn't care if you die. That's really the truth of it. I am super careful when I have my kid on the jet ski. And yes, it's not as much fun. I'm sure that Uncle E, when he's doing his, going 70 miles an hour over a lake with a 12-year-old on the back, I'm sure that's fun. And then he stops all of a sudden and the waves go like that. I'm sure that's fun. But when he rides with me, there is at least an 80% less likelihood that he's going to get injured. But his Uncle E is more fun on the jet ski, and he would prefer to go to Dave & Buster's with his Uncle E now. So we have that. Let's see, what else do we have here? As an 80s kid, I'm surprised Pugs wasn't a big arcade player. I was, Adam, but see, that's the thing. You had to actually go to an arcade. I was very good at Asteroids. I won the #1 fun in Bremertown Mall Asteroids championship title one summer. It was a Cook County thing. I don't even know what it was, but I got a certificate. Said that I was really good at Asteroids. And as a matter of fact, I became so obsessed with Asteroids that when the next game came out, which was Donkey Kong, or maybe it was Pac-Man. Yeah, I think it was Pac-Man. As soon as Pac-Man came out and sort of usurped Asteroids as like the cool game that all the kids wanted to play, I looked at Pac-Man and I said, yeah, I can't dedicate the amount of time to this that I did to Asteroids. I mean, otherwise I couldn't do it. So I retired. An Asteroids champion. Thank you. I do not want to compete in the arena of Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, or any of that. I have shown that I can play Asteroids with the best of you, and that's good enough for me. We used to hang out at the arcade all the time, but it was an arcade. You had to walk to an arcade. We didn't have, media rooms with. Nintendo wasn't even around yet. Maybe we had Atari, but even that was probably a little bit later. When I was 11, 12, 13 years old, you had to go to an arcade if you wanted to play a game. Luckily, we had an arcade. It's like a mile away, so we used to walk up to the arcade. Number one fun, Bremerton Mall. Dave and Buster's used to be 21 and up after like 9 or 10 o'clock. Yeah, that wasn't the case last night at Dave and Buster's. We were there. We closed that place down, and the kids still had like Fun Uncle E. Fun Uncle E just loaded up their cards with. My kid had like 700 plays left when they were closing. It's insane. Adam also says, my dad was a poor father who let me and my siblings roam smoky arcades in the 80s while he smoked pot and played Mrs. Pac-Man. Well, I do remember, I remember playing Pong as like a 6-year-old in like a fern bar. My mom would go and meet her girls for a couple of drinks after work or whatever. And I was home from school, so she'd pick me up. She'd give me a roll of quarters, and I would just sit there, table-sized Pong. Boop, 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 boop. So we've all been there. We've all been there. Let's see here. What else do we have? Jeff Glenn admits that he was a mediocre gamer, but the pinball machines were a whole different story. Look out, Jack. Yeah, I was never good at pinball. I never really played pinball. Jennifer says, I was in Venice, Italy, and asked a local guy where we could go that had music and dancing. He took me and my travel companion to an underground bar that he had to give a password at the door to get in. It was real Italian mafia bar, and luckily the mob loves Texans. Yeah, we were talking about like the worst party you've ever been to. Or not worst as in like this party sucks, because the criteria that I was looking for is it definitely doesn't suck. You can have fun, but like scariest. Like, like he talked about he ended up at a party in South Dallas with a bunch of pimps. And, that was scary. And I told the story of ending up in a Icelandic brothel partying with Russian mobsters. You don't want to mess up. Like I say, you don't want to bump into somebody carrying a tray of drinks because you could end up dead. What else do we have here? Oh, I told the story about how I learned live on the air that I didn't have to pay for AOL anymore, even though I'd been paying for it for like 5 years. Jeff says he remembers that conversation. So do I. I remember Sybil being the meanest about it. Never let me forget it. Jeff also says CNN let Cuomo go after he was also accused of sexual harassment. Yeah, that was part of it too. But the reason for the suspension was, I think that was just icing on the cake. The reason for the suspension was initially because of the revelation that he had helped his brother. I used to love the tacos from Burger King, says Byron. Yeah, dude, tacos from Burger King. Those are, or at least the ones up north. Those are Jack in the Box tacos. Jack in the Box. Yeah, we were talking about I like Jack in the Box. He doesn't like Jack in the Box. They had a sirloin burger like 15 years ago that I still maintain is one of the finest fast food burgers I ever had. I think it was a limited edition thing, but it was really good. I like Jack in the Box. I don't get to Jack in the Box because I forget. I forget. I think there's a Jack in the Box at like the Tollway and Lovers. That would maybe be the one I would go over. I want to say it's somewhere over by Chips Hamburgers, which is a local hamburger place that's really good. Jeff says, I'm definitely more focused when I do the show by myself. Jeff, I don't disagree with you. I'm in more of a zone, and I don't know. I was actually, and I mean, I love you and I love talking to him. I mean, we're best friends. We talk all the time. But I definitely noticed a difference in the flow today. I'd become accustomed to doing it a certain way the last 3 weeks. And although it was really difficult for the first few days, at some point I went, okay, I kind of like this. So I don't know. We're going to have to figure something out. We're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out. Because I need their participation on some level. But I don't know. We'll just have to figure it out. I'm going to just go and hate watch this after the show. So maybe I'll find some answers there. What else? Adam suggested a good topic for Pillow Talk is ridiculously awful things your parents did that are now unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, I remember cars were so large back then that if you were in the back seat, there was almost like a shelf between the back window and the headrest. I mean, they still have it, and sometimes you see people with the bobbing head dogs back there, or maybe somebody will put a baseball hat. But back when I was a little kid, you could sleep back there. And like, I remember being a really little kid, no seatbelts, no nothing, climbing up and just like laying there with a blanket while the car was hurling down the expressway. Any kind of an accident, I'm dead. I go flying through the windshield. That is a good topic. We should think about that one. That's because, except I don't want to out my mom. My mom was a fantastic mom, but there were different times. You didn't think, you didn't think anything of that. Sally, I was just talking about the arcade, number one fun, Bremerton Mall. Chinese food from Bremerton Mall. She says, yum. I don't remember Chinese food. I don't remember that. I don't know. Did they have? I don't remember. I remember there was an Orange Julius. I remember an Orange Julius in the Bremerton Mall, but yeah. Closest Jack in the Box, Adam says to me, is Inwood and Cedar Springs. Yeah, that probably is the closest. But for some reason, I always think of the one on Lovers. That's right up there a little bit. Okay, I think that's going to be it. We're going to do a Pillow Talk segment show tonight, and he's got his Bills game, so he's going to, he's obviously not going to be with us for the whole show. But I got some really, if you're on Twitter or on the socials, you may have seen this thing going around. It is some digital artist took all of the NFL quarterbacks and he changed them into what would they look like if they were women. And oh my God, my son brought this to my attention over the weekend, and my kid and I, he's 12 years old, my kid and I scrolled through all of these images of NFL quarterbacks, what they would look like if they were women. And we had so much fun. As a matter of fact, if we were going to do a show last night, we were going to do it together. And I'm glad we didn't, because dad and son, we got a little racy. He's in puberty, so he's liking girls now. And basically the game was, would you? Which to him, to his sensibility is, would you kiss him? Would you kiss him? And, obviously that means something different if I play it with James Parker tonight, which maybe I will. But my God, there are some current NFL quarterbacks who, if they were women, are absolute smoke shows. I'll tell you the three. I'll give you the four hottest, okay? And this will be a teaser for tonight. The four hottest current NFL quarterbacks as women are in this order. Are you ready? Dak Prescott, smoke show as a woman. Tom Brady, smoke show as a woman. Mitchell Trubisky, smoke show as a woman. And number one, is it any guess? Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, feminized as a woman, is like a supermodel. It's like, well, first of all, Jimmy, look, I might, if in the would ya kind of question, I might with Jimmy Garoppolo as a man. He's so pretty, but holy cow, as a woman. So that's one of the segments that we're going to do tonight. I also want to talk tonight about, there was an article over the weekend in the Washington Post about Eric Clapton and how Eric Clapton seems to have gone off the deep end, as the article suggests. Due to the pandemic, Eric Clapton is now a completely different person. And I said, au contraire, mon frère. I actually went and I researched this because I've always known about Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton has always been a bit of a, let's call it Nazi adjacent. Always. I mean, going all the way. There is audio and video, but we just never really cared. So I took that and I actually looked into it a little bit more. And we're going to talk about got a whole list of rock stars and some of the things that they had said throughout the years that if they were rock stars today, they get dropped by their record label. But because they're Eric Clapton, because they're Elvis Presley, because they're, are you ready for this one? David Bowie. Now, some of them redeem themselves, but we're going to go through a list of racist rock stars and things that they have said that, and I promise you, absolutely everything that I'm going to read, they said, and they're very racist. Not like, the pussy liberal kind of, it's not really racist. We're just looking for you to say, Dad, you're a racist. No, these guys all real racist stuff. Like, basically, white people are better than everybody else. Like that kind of shit, that level of shit that these guys were saying in the 60s and in the 70s in interviews and stuff. And nobody cared. Didn't go, there was no social media. It didn't trend. And it just went away after a day or two. And people went, oh yeah, I didn't like last week. Didn't he say in Playboy that, So we got a whole bunch of that. So we're going to do that as well. Plus, let's see, I got some other stuff too that I wanted to go through in tonight. Anyway, all that and a whole bunch more. Maybe we'll do a full show with me and James, and E will be popping in and out, but his Bills are playing. All right, thank you, folks. We hope to see you then tonight at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Pillow Talk edition of Pugs Company. Thank you. Bye-bye.